Hi, everyone. This is Maheen, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are talking about the science of scaling. In 2026, performance marketing isn't about who has the biggest budget, it's about who has the best architecture and the most trusted data. Joining us is Niveditha Dasyam, known as Niv, the founder of Elevon. From starting as a freelancer in India to managing seven-figure budgets in Canada, Niv has built her career on only one principle, which is results, not promises. With over a decade of experience and 650 plus managed campaigns, she specializes in finding the structural leaks that cost businesses money before they even serve an ad. So without further ado, let's dive in and welcome Niv. Niv, it's a pleasure having you on the show with us. Thank you so much for joining. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for such a great intro.
Of course, it was quite a mouthful, but very impressive bio. Niv, you've managed massive budgets, but you often say that even 1,000 a month account can suffer from the same fatal flaws as $1 million one. So tell us, what is the biggest structural mistake causing SMEs to waste ad spend?
That's a very good question, and I do see that every single day. But honestly, most SMEs I work with, I would say the system is one thing which is causing the structural leak, which I call it. I would say they are optimizing towards a system that was never built right for them in the first place. For example, if you're tweaking bids and budgets when the foundations itself are not set properly, you would have a campaign. It structures signals that are going to the algorithm, goals that doesn't match with the budget or the business. And this is what I call a structural leak. And no amount of budget in this case would fix that. What I would recommend in this case is to go back to the foundation and fix your foundations first.
Mm-hmm. That is a good starting point to understanding the foundation of performance. And you're right, fixing the technical foundation first ensures that every dollar spent is actually an investment in growth rather than a donation to the platforms. Now, Niv, let's explore how smaller brands compete against industry giants. Tell us, how can SMEs compete with big brands using smarter targeting and creative testing?
That's a big one, honestly. And this is where I feel most SMEs get completely backwards because big brands win on volume while SMEs win on precision,
Mm,
considering the budget they have. And the first place I see SMEs go wrong is competitive research. They look at what big brands are doing and directly copy the same concept. What happens here is you end up competing directly with the companies with 10 times more budget. That's kind of a losing game before it starts. What they should be doing instead is a gap and intent analysis. Find where the big brands are not showing up, find the intent that's being undeserved, and align both the targeting and creatives to that. That's the foundation of what I call PACE framework: precision, alignment, creative, and execution. Own the gap,
mhm.
but don't fight the same space along with big companies. And on the creative testing part, SMEs are looking at it through wrong lens. Big brands test 10 variations of the same theme, but SMEs don't have that kind of budget. What you need to do is creative diversity. And I don't mean different colors or different copy on the same concept. I mean genuinely different looks, different feels, different messages.
Mm-hmm.
And also focus on early signals because early signals would tell you the story where you can double down fast and watch your data daily but not weekly because daily data will tell you which spike is good and which spike is not. And
Right.
so what I feel sometimes small businesses might say, I don't have much budget for big productions. And in this day and age, we don't need big productions. There are many tools available using which you can make legitimate, high quality creatives at a fraction of cost. As long as you're authentic and you're answering the real question the customer has, I think you're good.
Mm-hmm. This is a very thought after, resource and explanation that you've given, Nev. And it tells us that using specialized targeting and agile creative testing, it allows smaller brands to be more relevant and efficient than a generic corporate campaign. Now let's look at the future of AI-powered search and discovery. Tell us, how can businesses stay visible as search shifts towards AI-powered discovery?
So this is one that's keep marketers up at night right now. And this is the question everybody's dancing around, but no one really knows what the answer is because it's evolving, right?
Right.
When someone asks LLMs like ChatGPT or Gemini, a query like which protein powder is best for women over 30, Google might not even be in that journey anymore. And right
Mm-hmm.
now, LLMs like ChatGPT is processing over 3.8 billion monthly visits, which is not just a trend, that's a reality. So here's the structure I would give the SME. Start with 6 to 8 core topics that your customers actually care about, not broader categories, but your real business topics. Then for each topic, you need to build content around 6 to 8 word conversational phrases, the way your customer actually speaks. Don't just focus on keywords like protein powder. If the business is, of course, I'm taking an example of a protein powder business, but focus on queries like build content around a protein powder that is best for women over 30. So queries this long along your content are significantly more likely to trigger AI answers versus when you're using keywords like just protein powder, non-GMO, keywords like that. And
Mm-hmm.
within that particular content, make sure you're being really comparative and answering the real question. And you need to focus on going deep, but not wide. AI does not reward volume right now. It rewards the right format matched to the right intent. And the next thing I would focus on is cleaning up the Google business profile and focusing on earning reviews consistently and try to get your brand mentioned on third party sites because AI systems at the moment are assessing trust signals at scale, evaluating topical consistency and brand reputation. So the bottom line
Right.
over here is it's not about gaming the algorithm anymore. It's about being the most credible and relevant answer in your space, if
Mm-hmm.
that answers your question.
It does. Thank you for being so detailed, Nev. And it tells us that adapting to AI search early, it ensures that your brand stays at the top of the conversation while your competitors are still optimized for 2020. And to all the e-commerce and DTC founders that are watching in 2026, a good enough marketing is getting more expensive every day. So if you feel like your ad spend is disappearing into the black hole, you need a diagnostic audit, not
Yeah.
a bigger budget. And Niv is currently building an AI train on her own diagnostic frameworks to help you find exactly where your account is leaking money. So please reach out, visit our website today to see how you can stop the waste and start growing profitably. Now, Niv, let's explore your journey from freelancer to performance consultant. Please tell us what made you realize SMEs needed custom strategies instead of agency playbooks.
Honestly, this came from a moment of frustration.
Mm,
I've been on either side. I've been managing big accounts with 7 figure budgets, big teams, full funnel strategies. And I also work with smaller businesses. And I can clearly say from experience, the playbook between these two just doesn't translate. An agency managing 2 million account applies the same framework to 5K per month client and kind of wonders why it's not working. That's because the budget math here is different. The platform behavior is different. And the margin of error is basically zero for SMEs because we cannot afford a 3 month brand awareness test, right? So every dollar here for an SME needs to do a job. So I stopped
mhm,
applying the same big brand framework and started building from the constraint up. Like, what do we have? What does the customer need? And what is the fastest path to real signal? That's completely a different starting point, I would say. And honestly, That constraint is not a disadvantage. It's what forces you to be precise, and precision is what actually scales.
That is a very detailed response, Niv, and it tells us that providing that high-level bespoke strategy, it ensures that small businesses get the same precision and care that is usually reserved for the biggest spenders. Finally, let's look at identifying and eliminating wasted ad spend. Tell us, what does wasted ad spend look like and how quickly can it be fixed?
Oh, there are so many. Where do I start? I don't know. So, waistband wears a lot of disguises. And honestly, in 2026, it's just getting worse and not better because the more automated these platforms get, the easier it is for us to miss what's actually happening. It looks like PMAX might be capturing branded queries. It might look like on the surface the CPA is great, but that's just a retargeting campaign. And it might look like brand search campaign that's been running at 90% impression share for 2 years, but you're still going behind scaling it. It might look like multiple channels claiming the same conversion as theirs, or search terms that are wasting budget quietly getting lumped into a broader search term category so nobody notices. These are some of the things which I feel are spending ad spend. And here's one I see more and more, and I've seen recently, is that brands spending the highest of brand campaigns initially, realizing they're essentially paying for conversions that were going to happen anyway, then suddenly pivoting the entire budget structure overnight. And
Right.
now, with LLM dependency, which is great when used correctly, I'm seeing businesses are applying the strategy straight up from ChatGPT or Gemini, overriding the actual paid media strategist and their expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And forgetting that the platform, the LLMs, does not know your account history, does not know your seasonality, your real-time problems, or your audience behavior. It just gives you the generic answer, and a generic answer applied to a specific account causes the real damage, in my opinion. And the fix here is really hard to kind of fix in the short podcast, but some of it can be a 2 hour audit and a structural change, and some of it takes weeks to rebuild the signal. But the first step is always the same. You need to separate what the data is actually telling you from what you want it to say.
Mhm. This is very an in-depth explanation to what and into identifying wasted ad spend. Thank you so much for uh explaining us that cutting out the waste immediately, it improves your margins and really provides the breathing room that is needed to scale what actually works. This was overall a great conversation. Thank you so much for explaining to our audiences really how to win against big budgets and what our marketing actually needs. Now that as we wrap up, what advice would you give owners that are worried about their ad spend, which is not working?
Can I take a minute over here? Because I do
Sure,
have a framework around this.
sure.
I want everyone to think about an algorithm in this way. Everyone knows that AI runs on prompts, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the same way, the algorithm of every platform runs on signals we give it, which is really just our version of prompt. So before we blame any platform that it's not working, here's what I would actually do. First, you need to understand the algorithm itself of the channel you're on. Every platform behaves differently. Even within Google platform, you have many campaigns. Google search behaves differently from PMAX or Discovery or video campaign. And social is completely a different chapter. So you need to understand the logic behind it, behind the algorithms. Second, you need to understand what channel works best for your specific businesses. In 2026, your customer list is more important than your keyword list because the algorithm needs to know who actually generates profit for you, not just who clicks the ad. And the third, you need to understand deduplication. Multiple channels will claim the same conversion as theirs. And if you're making decisions based on platform numbers alone, you are making decisions on an inflated data. So you need to find that balance and invest in MTA or MMM. Fourth, you need to connect it to P&L, not just what you see on the dashboard. If the numbers in the platform does not reflect what's happening in your business, that would be a real problem. And finally, you need to work on cleaning the signal, fix the foundation, and then think about scaling. Go step by step. Automation algorithms only work as well as the quality of data they receive. So, clean and structured data is the foundation of efficiency, and more spend on a broken foundation just loses the money faster. So, I
Right.
would say fix the foundation first and then think about scaling. And if you need help figuring it out where the leak is, you can reach me.
Of course. No, thank you so much, Niv. And this is a great reminder that you should never ever spend a dollar on ads that you can track back to a result. Thank you for your time again, for sharing such great expertise and your vision. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me today. Bye,
And
Maheen.
And listeners, that was Niveditha Dasyam from Elevon Marketing, a masterclass in performance architecture, how to win against big budgets, and why your brand needs to be AI search ready in 2026. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. To learn more about how we're supporting the ecosystem, please visit Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And before we leave, a special shout out to UPS and ADP for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. Please keep moving forward, and we'll see you in the next one.